I would like to welcome you, Raymond, to the meeting. We're waiting on Forrest right now, and for all of our records and for transparency, I am recording this meeting.
All right.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Charged.
Nice.
Charge forward. All right. So we just got a message from Forrest saying that he will be joining us shortly.
Okay.
And have you been able to get a chance to look through the paperwork that we sent and shared with you on Great Works Alliance?
No, I sure haven't, but I'm looking forward to finding out what you all have in mind here.
I think that our mindset is very similar to yours and to the whole .love concept and the holochain. And I'm admitting Nathan so that we have a video feed as well, because this computer does not. This is an older computer and it doesn't want to update for the new video feed feature. There's Nate.
Okay. Hey, Nathan. How are you doing today?
Just sharing my brightness today.
What's that?
I'm over here. Hi.
Oh, you're there. Okay. Wow,
Yep.
cool.
So this is on the phone that I just bought a couple of days ago. We're currently in the parking lot at Safeway. Can we see everybody? Let's see if we can get everybody in the picture there.
What part of the world are you in?
We are in Fremont, Milpitas area.
What is it?
Fremont, here in Silicon Valley.
Oh, okay, right. Pull up.
So I believe that's just above, like just north of Ares.
Wait.
Isn't that his name?
You don't have masks on. Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
Newsom's coming for you.
I know, right?
I used to be in the medical field and I'm just appalled at the insanity. It's like, if this, then that. Not all of the above. If you are within 6 feet of someone, it's a good idea to wear a mask. If you're outside of 6 feet, don't worry about it. It's not the end of the world or anything like that. And
yeah, well, I haven't been able to piece together any sensible reason to wear a mask yet. I don't get it.
I did.
The asymptomatic people are not contagious. Is the latest. The CDC said that, didn't they? There's a big rumor going around that asymptomatic people are spreading disease, and that turned out not to be true. But who knows what to believe these days? So much conflicting information. Okay, is this thing working? I am not hearing you suddenly. I see your lips moving, but I don't hear anything.
All right, I wanted to test it out because I didn't know which one was going to work for the meeting, because I don't want us to have an echo going on with the computer and the phone connected to the same meeting. And Forrest has joined us now, so we have now a full board here, all together now.
Right.
Yeah.
minus Scott.
Minus Scott, yeah.
Scott's
He's
the only one that's on the board with us on our side that's not here right now. And the three of us on the GWA side are the core members driving all of this, like we were talking about last in our meeting. I know you talk to so many people, it might be getting jumbled and like, help me remember this.
So what I'm going to do here is I'm sharing what I share at the beginning of most of the public meetings that we have on Sundays. And this is, you know, I was looking at your foundational contract format and seeing how we could probably copy and paste a majority of what we have compiled here into that foundational contract. What do you think? Can you see, or is the pictures in the way?
Okay, you're breaking up pretty good. I didn't make out what you basically any of the things you guys said last, but I do see your screen share came on.
Yep. And
it's not just you. It's not just you. This is Forrest, by the way. It's not just you. I thought it was my end. I was trying to fix something. I couldn't hear them either.
I'm putting the computer closer. Hopefully that will improve the signal.
Okay.
Is it better?
It seems okay for this moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems better.
Now the only one here that can move the screen, of course, is the one that's on the laptop. So I have to reach over and move it.
Right on. Okay. I don't know whether, you know, repositioning it made any difference, but for the moment we seem to be okay.
Let me know when I can scroll up more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Roll up. Yeah. I read all that.
Then we go into the section that we started talking to you, with you about the way that we want to assist in this process.
If you were waiting for me, I was already finished too. I'm sorry.
I didn't think you needed to be finished. I thought you were already finished.
Hey, services included. Phoenix Teams, Great Works Alliance.
Got holes in it.
Okay. So, okay, we're just going to do a little bit more of this.
Yeah. So, but the point being that we have guidelines and everything. We are all conscientious objectors here. The idea is to be autonomous at the same time being involved within the teams and the communities and the organizational projects and the missions and all of the different
Yeah.
components that serve our community and improve quality of life for all within the community. And you can read the rest of that by viewing the organizational details that I sent you that link for. And then we have been working very diligently on our pillars of ethics, which then has bloomed into this document mind map that we're working with in creating how, you know, these ethical policies will be in alignment with these pillars. Did I get?
Mhm.
I moved
Cool.
the screen. I'm sorry. It probably caused a bit of a lag. I apologize. But yeah, so, you know, we have been working on this nonstop for pretty much the last year, Nate and I, and Forrest has been jumping in where he can, and Scott has been jumping in where he can, and we're all just wanting to be able to expand upon this and get feedback and get, you know, more fine tuning. This is about creating a living document and how a living document can transform and evolve as we continue forward collaborating with each other.
Right. Yeah. Well, collaboration and open, vulnerable transparency obviously is what I stand for, and
Yeah.
the work I'm bringing forth in the world. So we, you know, what you've got there is a good start to collect a foundational document. Various pieces of what you showed me could fit into it. Was that the intention of what we wanted to do next? To start working on that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. And
All right.
so, I mean, you know, there's a lot of other documents, like the 9 documents you see in the view only folder is only a small percentage of the documents that we've created. So, I mean, perhaps we have already written up something, we just don't know where it's going to fit within the foundational document. And so, you know, we would like to work with you in making sure that it all fits together within the framework that you're presenting.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that's what I would do. I would start there by opening the collective foundational document, a copy of it, you know, and start filling it in, and then leave it up to you guys to go answer certain questions, bits and pieces from your other documents to help fill that in and be in discussion with you about how to fit all that in. And so that usually looks like a total of 8-hour process maximum.
Okay.
If you have large, complicated documents, you know, I'll leave, you know, it could potentially take more, but I'll leave that work for you guys to do more offline. And we'll spend the 8 hours just kind of understanding the different concepts of protocol.love and how it all fits together, and how you sometimes there's translations of words, things that happen from the way you've written them now to fit into protocol.love ontology. And yeah, we could start that process you know, sometime next week if you guys wanted to. You've got at least 3 of you, that's good. And if there are some other team members that would want to come on for that process, that would be good too. And the commitment would be for all of you to show up for every minute of up to 8 hours together. And that, you know, if it's an instance where somebody couldn't make it, that we would just reschedule, you know. That way everybody is completely present for every aspect of creation of the document. And
Right.
It's a, you know, fully engaged process by everybody. And then as soon as that process is done, you know, other people could jump in, and you can, one of the first things you decide in that collective foundational document is how you do bring other people in to be influence currency holders.
Okay.
And and be part of the collective as well.
Great. So now what we would probably do is look into what days are good for everybody to be able to meet up. And should we be breaking it up into what, 2-hour sessions or?
Yeah, that's usually what I do. Yep.
Okay.
Or 2-hour sessions.
So, Forrest.
I'm here.
I know you are, but what we're trying to nail down is days that we all can make sure that we're able to be available for a 2-hour window, 4 days, starting next week. And we want to make sure we can work around your schedule as well for us.
Okay. Geez. Starting next week. Probably, I can't nail that down until I call into work and figure that out. But how about I get back to texting the group this afternoon? I got to call them right afternoon to see, because I'm on quarantine right now because my wife had to go to a doctor's appointment. So I have those days off. I just need to figure out how deep into the week it's going to go.
Okay. And what
so now is actually a good time for that.
So what I'm sharing right now, Forrest, is the collective foundational document that we're looking to work with Ray on in developing and ensuring that everybody's on the same page. This is a part of the Facilitators Guild, correct, Ray?
Well, yeah, the Facilitators Guild is people who will consult with groups like you who want to complete these documents. We're basically the consultant to help you do that. It's kind of like startup consultants, but so we help you with the business aspect, and but also create the full vulnerable transparency, of course, in your operations. And the Facilitators Guild is looking for the subtle power dynamic kind of things that happen sometimes, where we just get all that out in the open, and we come up with a complete understanding of what assets this group is going to be stewarding and how decisions are made over those assets, and what the specific goals are to get done. The mission and vision obviously says some of that, but then more detail of that goes into the initial team accountabilities. And really, I'd say that you guys have been operating in some capacity, but generally as kind of a new, fresh startup here, you could say you're officially in business together when you've done your first loop of initial team accountabilities successfully, and everybody feels good about,
right.
Everybody got some things done and it felt good to do it together. Then you're onto something. Things are working, and if that didn't happen, then there's a little more work to do probably. Or alternatively, you realize that that maybe just now's not the time, or this group is not the group, or this mission is not the mission, or something like that. That's kind of that's just as exciting to come to that realization, really, as it is to be charging forward, because at least if there's some reason, if there's some kind of thing in the field that's going to prevent moving forward, at least you got it out in the open right away.
Right.
So that we do have we've had a ticket generating system up for a year. We've had some people come in and out that were not able to complete their missions, and we have teams set up that have just recently been created with the we have a skills and merit evaluation form that helps us determine where a person's going to best flourish, right? And so then we appropriate them in the appropriate team, and then let that be its own think tank.
Yeah, that sounds good. That's you've got your core team though, right? And that's what we can start with is just finding what the core team is and what they're up to, and then you can have official policies for how you create other sub councils, we can call them, or whatever, or new collectives even, depending on whether they're a submission of the primary or not.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good.
That's all the stuff we talk about. And, looks like you guys, you're showing me your mission, and, we could do some work on pasting that in today if you want, just briefly, because that's a really good thing to, even come into the process. As you're inviting 3 to 8 people together to come be part of this 8-hour process, having a pretty clear mission and vision definitely helps create full coherence with what's happening.
Yes, indeed it does. And I've had quite a few open meetings I host on Sundays, and we've had different people joining in different times, and it brings them to the table. Not everybody is able to consistently show up every week, and so there are different levels that are created just by that circumstance,
Right.
as well as all.
Right. Well, when we talk about gamification, that's one thing you can kind of start to look at from that angle, which is giving some influence currency or some equity currency or some kind of recognition there when people are showing up and participating and moving things forward. So that's something you can get written down in the document and then have available for everybody to read and share and understand. I think just the act of doing that a lot sometimes really helps momentum get going.
Right. And we're actually right now working on the badging system, the merit badging system, and how that's going to be laid out in the gamification, and how those rewards will be of value, that holds its value, not that loses its value. The only way it would lose its value is if the individual who excelled at a certain character trait skill went the opposite direction, and then we need to do a assessment and understand what the circumstances were and help that individual, uplift that individual again back to their strongest pillar.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So I myself and what the Facilitators Guild is skilled in is just helping you get really clear on defining that stuff very simply in writing in your collective foundational document or in your proposals ledger. And basically you're setting up, this is what's happening with this is also basically software specifications. Ultimately that's what this is, because when Holochain is launched, we do plan to have a team that's going to be able to crank out interfaces to automate all of these processes that you're developing and defining with the collective foundational document. So that's the beauty of it, really. Ultimately, that's the goal, is that by doing this kind of extra work to define it through this lens of protocol.love, we're going to easily be able to crank out user interface for applications built on Holochain that will help the workflow of all this kind of stuff.
Right.
All right. Well, that's awesome, and I'm really excited to work with you and the co.love framework, and we want to see where we fit in and where we can interlock these different areas of development and community improvement.
Yeah. Was I talking to you a couple of years ago about perhaps taking over the parentalequality.org site?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's still on the table. I do get requests coming through there, and I do my best to point people basically to like if I get them what sounds like a father's rights issue, I usually post them to the father's rights group in their state.
Right.
But they're basically not all of them are father's rights issues, and everybody that ends up filling out that form is really badly needing help, and I'm not having the time. So
exactly.
I'm still looking for someone to to take over that site. It's not super active, but I do get requests maybe 1 or 2 a month on average. And if somebody was working that site, it's ranks high in the search engines. If you just type parental equality into Google, it comes up #1. So if people,
yeah, if we can somehow like assign. See, this is where we're having a little bit of difficulty right now, and part of why I went in this direction. There's a lot of new and older information that I'm just not able to absorb on the development side of the website and technology side. And what I've done is started with coalitionforprotection.org, and Forrest he's redeveloped the site so that we now have a portal for people to create their tickets. So what I would probably recommend on that end is that we set up a ticket portal for parental alienation, and it be another client. So we have multiple portals that people can go through that are seemingly not connected until they get into creating those ticket requests, and then those ticket requests go to the direct group or team or advocate that it is pertaining to. And this way we're automating a lot of those requests.
yeah.
And
Okay, well, right now it comes in as an email, as there's not that many of them. So if you guys, ultimately can have the capacity to really hold those hands and hearts closely when those requests come in, that would be amazing. I'd love to hand it, have you steward that asset, so to speak, in protocol.love ontology.
all right, and so the way I'm thinking this might have to be done is that it be a request, we put it in the ticket system through Coalition's help desk, and
just, somebody could just grab the email when it comes in and go paste it into a ticket.
it would be, yeah, we're tracking it. And then what happens is by tracking it, then we can show that level of accountability across the board.
Right.
And,
Cool.
yeah, so then that then builds up the merits, builds up the referrals, builds up everybody in their own individual capacities, and then that builds up our teams, which then is reciprocating and kind of like a spiral. Kind of
Cool.
like a spiral.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, let's schedule a time to get started on the collective foundational document. I'm sure we can work out all the details in that process, and
Sounds good.
just take it from there. So let me know.
All right. Well, so we're free any day. Just whatever time is good for you guys. We're open to it. We want to make sure to get these things, get the ball rolling. We're looking at trying to be able to have our business plan and player's manual completed within the next month. And so that would include,
Okay.
Yeah, that's our optimal goal there. And so anything we can do to speed up any of the processes to help make this a reality and make it even bigger than it ever was to begin with is, the plan.
Yeah. Did I actually send you the official document about the gifted consultations for a collective foundational document?
I don't think so. We haven't received an
Well, I'll
email.
put that in the group.
The other thing is,
Yeah, it just says basically go ahead and get your.
go ahead.
It just says basically get your mission and vision. Make a copy of the document, the collective foundational document template that you had up. Fill in the mission and vision. gather 3 to 8 people that are committed to an 8-hour process, and then schedule some times with us.
Yes. Okay. So I just received that through Messenger. We'll go through that, and then this afternoon, Forrest is going to be coming back to us with times that he will be available this next week. Is that correct, Forrest?
All right.
That is correcto.
All right. So then we're getting some progress made here. That's awesome.
All right.
Ray, I wanted to ask you, because I didn't hear it, maybe I missed it when you did bring it up. For scheduling on the 8-hour session, spread out within a few days, is that using the format that we heard on some of those conference calls that we were referring to earlier? Was it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
No.
You need to stick to, or
no, not at all.
okay.
No, usually it ends up working out. We set a time, a weekly time, and then do 2 hours each week for 4 weeks. That's usually the way that works out nicely, but nothing set.
Because I'm thinking more like 2 hours, 2 times a week, and see if we can't get this punched out.
Yeah, that can work, and we can do it in 2 weeks.
And then, yeah, and then we're running. Because we're down here in Silicon Valley, we're already creating a list of people in the area that we want to approach with this to get the financial backing that we need. We want to make sure that it's all appropriate for the presentation.
Excellent.
One area of particular interest from our side is the scaffolding tools.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of been our largest weak area for compiling all this, and then we don't really have a database set up that we have access to at the moment. Forrest has got his stuff going on with the database like SQL and the LAMP stack getting set up. It's not quite ready for us to get in and play around with as a constructive portal yet. Do you have anything like that yet, or just available coming soon, like any day now?
Well, I mean, define what you mean by scaffolding in this context.
The business processes like ERP, stuff like that.
Right.
Creative, on the creative side, like the more user-friendly on the client side for someone with little experience or no experience at all, like for children or teens, we're thinking would be really optimal. Not necessarily like required right now, but
well, generally I would say, to jump in the gun a little bit, usually you need tools, those kind of tools when you're doing enough volume and you have a big enough team,
right,
that, you need automation tools. Up until then, you can just use spreadsheets and Google Docs and things like that. Just
that's what we've been doing.
Keep your process simple and not get stuck. Yeah, it's about what you actually do, and I guess in this case with GreatWorks, helping actual people, and make sure you're doing that first and foremost, and then automate your system and build your capacities and scale and create scalability as you see what works.
Right. Of course. Awesome. You have any suggestions? Like from the open source community?
Oh, well, I mean, CRMs, there's 1,000 of them. I mean, I don't, and 900 of them are free. What's that?
Yeah, we've been checking into Webflow CMS, and that looks like it's not all there, but probably the closest to what we've been kind of envisioning for a web portal into CMS actions.
Yeah,
it's more geared towards the creative logger.
I mean, the goal is, get in the process flow of actually helping people, and then see when you need to start automating processes, see what works naturally with the team. It's, you know, like it sounds to me like you're getting more bogged down and trying to think about scalability before you're ready to scale.
Right.
Okay. Well,
You know,
that's,
just do the thing that you actually want to do. Right? That's your first step. Find people to help and start helping them. And then as that becomes like, hey, we're helping so many people, we're getting so busy, we need tools to make this easier. That's when you want to start thinking about that scalability aspect.
we have
Because
a lot of different areas that we're developing that we are helping in the social media community, but what we're finding is that a lot of people are getting turned off by, you know, interfacing with Facebook, Twitter, all of these different platforms because of the lack of accountability upon the advocate that is promoting. And so people are becoming scared, and this is part of what we're endeavoring to improve. We have we have advocates on our system now that are wanting to provide more information, more data, and more resources, as well as more individuals. And we want to make sure that we just keep it from getting out of control too quickly, because it's been asked for in many of the communities that I'm in, and it's like, I want to be able to say, hey, okay, here it is.
Yeah. Well, so what kind of work are you doing when these conversations are coming up, or people saying, I don't want to use Facebook anymore?
Well, some of it is family rights, some of it is Democrat versus Republican, some of it is like.
What does that mean, Democrat versus Republican?
Well, there's infighting going on because there's like somebody who's a Democrat and then somebody else who's a Republican, and the news that's coming out is not legitimate or accurate, and then people are flying off the handle and getting emotional, and it just explodes into nobody's being able to do anything because everybody's spinning around in circles about their emotions.
Right. Doing anything about what?
About anything. I mean, we could being productive, being able to come forward. Like right now, we see all these riots that are happening around the country. You know, we have here in California people taking down statues in other states, and it's like, it's because they're angry and they have no direction. Well, how do you know, we're looking at, okay, if you're angry and upset with the way things are, instead of rioting and destroying public property, let's channel that into something more productive that's going to make sense and be, you know, everlasting.
So what I'm hearing from you is that you believe that in order to have that conversation with people, you need some kind of software tool.
Visual clarity.
Yeah.
For like I forgot. I'm going brain dead right now. A step-by-step process, basically.
Yeah.
Where
that's something you can put in writing on a website or a Google Doc, and you can go and you see somebody who wants to riot, and you say, hey, we have a program. You can read about it here, you know.
Right.
And then you just start doing it. You don't need anything too fancy right there, but at least I don't think. I mean, you know, especially not in the you know, kind of the. It's almost like social work capacity. It sounds like just a general social work looking for disharmony in social situations and communities, and being of assistance there. It seems like your ticket system would be great. You know, but you don't. It doesn't. I mean, I don't know how many active cases you have, you know, but it seems like, you know, just from an outsider's perspective, it seems like you might be getting bogged down with the technology aspects itself.
Well, and we need to keep exploring that and seeing where it's going to be more effective. What we're looking at is that we have multiple requests coming in for all kinds of different issues, from legal issues to family issues to psychological issues to community issues, and all of these.
Okay.
So we have lots of requests coming in, and it's about giving them automated path approaches, about being able to enable them to get those local resources instantly. And so it goes from, yeah, we have our teams addressing these situations, having these clients that we're working with, but on a bigger scale, there's more requests coming in than we can really handle right now with the way that things are happening with all of the COVID crisis and people panicking, and how families are being torn apart just because one is a nurse that was at a hospital where COVID outbreak was. And we're about to be shut off in this meeting, so I'll just kind of leave it at that, and we'll continue investigating simpler ways to deal with this. And anything that you wish to share on that note.